What's up guys? Today we're going to cover the 6 fundamentals that will help any shooter improve their shooting. Those 6 fundamentals will be stance, grip, sight alignment, trigger control, follow through, and breathing.
I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth. Can't put me down.
That was a good grip.
You can have it douse, not what I'm about. Have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round. I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
Alright, so when it comes to the fundamentals, the first one that we're going to discuss is the grip. The grip is how the hands come into contact with the gun. It's also what helps us to be able to get good follow-up shots and increase the efficiency of our shots. So when we talk about the grip, there are 3 different things that we talk about as it relates to the grip. There's the leverage, there's friction, and pressure. When it comes to the leverage, if we look at the ball line right here, it sits high above where the handle is. So if I grip the handle low, the ball has more leverage to be able to flip when the recoil is happening on the gun. So what we want to establish is a nice high grip on that gun. Typically that's done by putting the web between the thumb and the index right up into the tang of the gun, the bottom 3 fingers wrapping around the base of the gun, and the trigger finger straight along the frame of the gun. The support hand is going to come in, the base of the 2 thumbs are going to marry together, and that support thumb is going to ride straight along the frame. The rest of the fingers are going to wrap around the bottom, with the index finger ideally somewhere around the bottom of the trigger guard. So this is the grip that we want. It's a nice high grip. It's going to help us to manage the muzzle rise and increase the efficiency of how quickly we can get off our follow-up shots. So those are the concepts that relate to grip. We've got leverage, friction, and pressure, and that's going to allow us better contact on the gun, so that when the gun has muzzle flip, we can control that better, getting the sights back on target and getting good, quick, efficient follow-up shots. The second fundamental that we want to discuss today is stance. Right? Now, depending on the situation or the circumstances in which you're shooting, your stance may vary. For the majority of the job that I do, I want to have what's considered an aggressive or a defensive stance. Something happens and I need to move, I'm able to move, or some kind of force comes on top of me, I'm able to react to that. Right? So this is going to be the stance that I take most times that I shoot. Some people may not have to worry about any kind of outside forces when they're shooting. Maybe you're a competitive shooter and you just want to have a stable platform from side to side. This might work better for you. However, in my situation, I'm always going to take a little bit of an offset when I stand. This gives me a nice base to be able to build my shots off of. Stance is my body's relationship to the ground, and it's what's going to help me absorb some of that recoil that comes through the gun. I want that to come straight into me and into the ground. So I want a bit of a forward lean, and that lean comes from my ankles. It's not coming from my waist. I'm not bending forward into my shot. I'm slightly bent at the ankles so that I've got a forward lean, and I can absorb the recoil as it comes through the gun into my arms, into my body, and I can push that out into the ground. Another thing that I see a lot is that when people draw, right, they draw the gun and then they suck back into their sights, and that's dangerous because you could throw yourself off. That recoil is coming whether you like it or not. So if I suck back into my chest, what happens is when that recoil goes, that force is coming straight into my chest and it could knock me backwards. So I want that slight lean forward into my gun, so that when I absorb that energy, it goes through my body down into my legs. Another thing as it relates to stance is the tension that we're creating in the gun. So we talked about grip. Obviously we've got grip, there's tension in our hands that's helping to create friction, but that tension should also extend to our body. So our arms should have tension, our core should have tension to help us to be able to control some of that muzzle rise, allowing for us to have more efficient shots. One thing as it relates to that is that we don't want to suck our head down into our gun to create tension. We want that firearm to come up to our eyes and not our head down to the firearm to create that tension, right? We want to bring that firearm up, right? So we want to avoid sucking our head down or sucking back into our shot so that we can see our sights. So creating tension throughout our arms, throughout our shoulders, and our core help us to be able to control the muzzle rise, allowing for more efficient follow-up shots on target. So that's stance for you. One thing that I want everybody to keep in mind, this is just a way of doing things. It's not the way or the only way to do things. This is a style that I've found to be useful for me, but that is by no means the end all be all of how to shoot or how to grip the gun. So take it for what it's worth. If this is something that helps you out, great. If it's not, explore and experiment with whatever is out there. Something that you can do to help you with understanding the importance of grip is just dry firing at home. The only thing that it requires is your time and your firearm to be able to do it. So if you're drawing from the holster, we want to have that good aggressive stance. One foot is offset to the other. We're leaning forward in our stance, and we're just practicing coming out of the holster if that's what we're drawing from. So we're getting a nice high grip on the firearm, and we're bringing that gun out, and we're establishing whether or not we've got good grip. We're punching out, we're acquiring that sight, but we're focusing on our grip, right? If you're not a person that draws from a holster, what you can do is just have your firearm right at your chest, and you're punching out, focusing on that grip. You're focusing on making sure is my grip nice and high on the firearm. My hands cover the entire handle of the firearm. Is my support hand coming in, marrying the thumb at the base, and then going straight along the frame on the opposite side of the firearm. Is my support index finger wrapping around the trigger guard of the firearm as I punch out. We're focusing on making sure that our grip is the way that we want it to be. What does my grip look like? How does my grip feel in my hand? When we're learning the fundamentals, it's really important that we don't do all these different things at the same time. We want to break it down, and we want to focus on one thing at a time, and we build upon those things as time progresses. So the one thing that we're focusing on right now is our stance and our grip. So when we talk about stance, we get in our stance, we say, okay, is my stance the way that I want it to be? And then we focus on our grip. We bring that firearm out, and we're focusing. Is my grip nice and high up against the tang of the gun, right? Is my grip completely covering 360 portion of the handle of the firearm, right? So those are things that we want to focus on when we're doing these dry fire drills, because we want to make sure that our grip is good, that our stance is good, that we're leaning forward as we're punching that firearm out, and that our grip is the way that we want it to be. So practice that, focusing on our stance and our grip. We went over grip and stance and the 6 fundamentals of marksmanship. In our next video, we'll go over what some may argue are the most important fundamentals, which are going to be trigger control and sight alignment. Thank you guys for tuning into Polydynamics. I'm Sone. Until next time, stay blessed. Stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south.